Hello and welcome to this RetailX e-commerce world review webinar, which I'm going to be covering the Middle East e-commerce report that Internet Retailing and RetailX published at the end of last year. I'm Emma Herod, an editor at the two companies and author of the report. There is loads and loads of data in the report, including graphs on population structures, number of internet users versus people who shop online, consumer preferences around payments, channel mix, social media, sustainability, all those kinds of things. And for anybody who hasn't seen the report yet, there's going to be a download link at the end of this presentation, so you know where to go off and find it to see those graphs in more detail. As I say, the Middle East is a region full of contrasts, distinct beliefs, historical flashpoints. There are 16 countries stretching from Turkey to Iran, encompassing the Arabian Peninsula, home to a growing population of more than 420 million people. GDP per capita is above the global average, but of course that's going to vary from country to country. As I say, while many charts within the report encompass the entire region to show the population and trading conditions in 2023, 6 countries were selected to represent the region's similarities and contrasts, and we go into those in more depth. These 6 countries are Iran, Israel, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates. Shopping in the Middle East is dominated by bricks and mortar stores, as in most regions of the world still, and in the Middle East ranging from small local retailers to large shopping malls, providing a shopping environment away from the heat of the day, supplying a number of entertainment, leisure and dining experiences, as well as storefronts for globally known brands. Many of these latter brands are trading through local franchise partners who really do understand the region, the consumers, the trading conditions, and they'll be running operations for multiple international brands. So this gives a really interesting perspective on the customer insight side of things and loyalty schemes, because these shopping mall owners / franchise partners will operate across multiple brands, multiple shopping malls, and they have insight across all of that, and the loyalty schemes will run across all of those brands, as well as possibly working across multiple countries. So shoppers there do expect a really premium service. E-commerce, let me switch on to the next slide. E-commerce is growing across the region, some countries offering exciting opportunities for brands wanting to capture market share, especially if you consider that there are still plenty of people who haven't shopped online yet. Internet usage across the region is 80%, but only 61% shop online. So there is huge growth potential, not just in the consumers that are shopping more online, but new customers as they start doing so. As an example, e-commerce revenue in UAE has shown a compound annual growth rate of 19.3% between 2019 and 2023. And if we move on and look at some of the individual markets, the largest e-commerce market in the region is Turkey. In 2023, consumers in the region were expected to spend just short of $20 billion online. So that's almost twice the amount that consumers in the UAE spent. But that's mainly by virtue of the fact that Turkey has got a much larger population rather than the individual amount that individual consumers were spending online with retailers. Majority of online purchases in Turkey have been for consumer electronics. That product category alone accounts for almost $9 billion of the total online market in the country. 3.4 billion spent on fashion and associated accessories, footwear, etc., that kind of thing. As a comparison, this is the same size of the total amount spent online in Qatar in that year. So you can see that there are consumers in different countries that are spending more individually, whereas other countries have higher populations and therefore larger market sizes. E-commerce adoption being driven by omnichannel services. So I've already mentioned those loyalty schemes, consumers earning points or new experiences, new services by shopping online and in store. Mobile commerce, a big part of the online experience and where the majority of shopping is being done. And I said loyalty schemes. Almost as much money is spent online using mobile phones and tablets than is spent on desktop devices, as the chart shows. UAE, highest uptake of mobile commerce in the region. In 2023, 68%, I think it was, of online revenue in the country was made from consumers buying on mobile devices. Of that, apps have been particularly well adopted. One of the other areas we look at in the report is social. Now, UAE, Dubai, the social influences through luxury, through fashion, is becoming synonymous with the city and with the country overall. So it's not surprising then that a large number of people are using social media and are using multiple platforms as they do in other areas of the world. In Qatar, almost 98% of the population uses at least one social media platform. The number viewing on TikTok has risen in recent years. Instagram and Facebook have seen their potential reach for advertisers declining, although the two platforms still have the highest number of users across the region. Kuwait is another example. Adverts on TikTok can reach almost 75% of the population, while in Turkey in early 2023, Facebook had almost 33 million users. So that's equivalent to sort of just under half of the number of internet users in the country. Say Facebook advertising reach decreased between 2022 and 2023, while TikTok's increased. This is by 12.4% to reach 42% of internet users in Turkey. That same country, consumers spend an average of 7.5 hours a day using the internet. And of that, almost 3 of them are spent on social media. So, third of consumers say they use social media to buy products or to look for inspiration of things to buy. 35% will follow brands that they like, or ones that they're thinking of buying from as well. So no surprise there then that Turkey has one of the highest growing digital advertising markets in the world. Social is also being used by brands for things like customer service as well. So there's one supermarket grocery chain, Lulu Hypermarket, which is also one of the retailers profiled in the report. They are using an AI-powered chatbot conjoined with WhatsApp to handle inquiries from customers. Within the first 4 weeks of going live, Salem, as they've called their chatbot, has successfully handled queries from more than 3 million customers. So the uptake is there and customer desire to use these technologies. Another retail driver in the region, sustainability. This is where the last COP meeting was held in UAE. Middle East, an enviable position of having to transition away from natural materials, and that was one of the agreements, at least to start looking towards that. It's brought a wealth to the countries in the region, particularly the economies of Saudi Arabia, UAE and Qatar. But they do recognise that change has to take place to ensure sustainability of their economies as the world aligns further with the 1.5 degrees C Paris Agreement. As the chart shows, consumers are concerned about sustainability as well, and we're seeing that particularly amongst the grocery brands that are selling in the region. So moving on, looking at where consumers are actually shopping, the top half of the chart shows the breakdown of retailers and brands within the grouping of what at RetailX we call the largest 100. So the lower half splits that same group by web traffic. So as you can see, multi-category retailers and software stores over-index in terms of the web traffic they receive compared to the percentage of such retailers that are within that largest 100 grouping. Marketplaces receive 83% of web traffic. The largest 50 companies in the overall group dominate with more than 90% of web traffic from consumers in the region. So you can see that the leaders really are leading in the consumer's eyes, as well as in terms of sales and the other metrics from which they are measured by RetailX. 4 companies profiled in the report: Lulu Hypermarket, as has been mentioned already, Getir. Be familiar to some of the audience as the Turkish company operates in the UK, Netherlands and other European countries as well. The fast delivery company had a bit of a rocky time in 2023 as the fast delivery market changed post-COVID and consumers returning to sort of different behaviours and eating out more rather than getting food in, although their market is still growing. Also included in here, a couple of marketplaces. Like marketplaces everywhere, those in the Middle East are investing in logistics, technology. Noon, for example, this marketplace has a new 250,000 square metre fulfilment centre, which it says is the largest in the UAE. That's only opened in the last year. Trendyol, which partly owned by global marketplace Alibaba, they've grown their technology and logistics side of its business in recent years in order to, one, help itself, but also helping the brands that sell via its platform. And Alibaba is investing a further 2 billion in the Turkish marketplace in coming years. They haven't said exactly where that money is going yet, but obviously huge market potential for them. When I wrote the report, though, which is the end of last year, end of 2023, consumer spending was affected by rising inflation, something that's been happening around the world last year, or majority of the markets that we report on. Also, the plight of tech employees being made redundant across the globe was mirrored in the Middle East. Dubai-based marketplace Noon reduced staffing levels by 10%. The CEO of Turkish marketplace, Hepsi Barada, another large one, said in August that prevailing macroeconomic conditions are expected to continue to pressure customer purchasing power for some time yet. That said, sales have been increasing on the platform, with orders increasing in Q3, which is the end of 2023, by 55% year on year. Revenue over the 9 months at Hepsi Barada was up by almost 40%. So for an economy in which consumers had reduced purchasing power, that's still very good going. So just to close then, bring up a link for anybody who wants to go and download the report. If anybody has any questions about this report, the Middle East in general, would like to be included in future research, then please do get in touch. And I'm Emma Herod at internetretailing.net.